Hey guys, LootWizard here with another Soulforge video on Gems of War, and as always, we go over the Soulforge, look what's in there, and go over the new troop and the new event that's going on this week. So let's go right into it and check it out. We're going to go here to Soulforge, and we're going to check out the weapons first. There really isn't a whole lot of good things here. Again, pretty much every single week you're going to have one of these kind of weapons where it's a mana generator for a particular ally type or for troops from a certain kingdom. And there's a few of them that are pretty good. Most of them are just really, you can play the game perfectly fine without them. I use a few of them in rare occasions, but I try to collect them, so I already own this one. But I wouldn't say to craft those until you're much later in the game. Like when you're at a point where you can start spending some resources to collect some weapons. Like Doomed Mask here is not really a great doomed weapon. You're going to pay 900 diamonds for it. It's really just a support weapon. It gives life to all allies. And you've got other troops that are going to do that anyway, like Divinia, and it's going to be a lower mana cost, much more efficient, because it also generates mana while it's giving life to your allies. So Etherea's Shield, you gain armor and barrier to a random ally for every demon enemy. So it's kind of a weird thing there for every demon enemy. I would say pass all of these weapons here this week. None of them are really stand out as something that you must have. So I'm going to go over to troops here. We're going to take a look real quick at the summoning stones and see if there's any troops that catch my eye in here. Sometimes there's a pretty good troop in here that's kind of rare and harder to get. So nothing really. I mean, this is a good starting with all mana, full mana there. Transforms green gems to blue, gives gold, but I would say pass on that. Gimlet Stormbrew is pretty good in certain teams. Transforms all green gems to brown and rage and give life to the first ally. Pretty decent. Starts with full mana. It's good in a couple of teams. But yeah, I would say just skip that though too. You're gonna get that eventually, just opening keys. And yeah, so there's really nothing in the summoning stones that I see this week that I'm gonna recommend to try to get. Let's move on to legendaries and mythic troops. So for legendaries, we have Shegra, we have Kuru Arg the Dread, we have Tesla, and the Ghost Queen, which I forget what this one even does. The Ghost Queen steals 7 mana from an enemy, then steal 31 life, boosted by purple gems. Okay, so it's a legendary card that gives 50% mana to undead allies. So it's one of those kind of troops. So if you do like a bunch of undead troops and you want to build a team around them, this might be something to try to get just because it'll make all those undead troops start with 50% mana. Ability is okay. It's more of a like kind of a support troop than anything. It's gonna do a little bit of damage for stealing the life, but that's basically it there. And the other legendary cards we have is Shegra, and Tesla is probably going to be the number one legendary out of these. How I would rank him is probably Tesla, Shegra, Kruarg the Dread, and then the Ghost Queen last. That's probably how I would rank those legendaries this week. Tesla is really, really good, and because it deals true scatter damage boosted by all ally and enemy armor. Now, there is a weapon you can use called the Shield of Urskaya, which will give you a lot of armor, and it can make this thing really powerful. And Tesla is one of those legendary troops that's good early on in the game, and it's good even late in the game. So there's some legendaries, or even in some mythics, that are really good only in the beginning of the game, but they're not good later on. But Tesla is one of those troops that just is good all the way through from lower levels to higher levels. And Shegra is a decent legendary troop. It creates 6 red gems, and then it turns all red gems to skulls. And if you have, it does take red too. So if you do have a firestorm going, which you can do that with the class called the Sun Spirit class. If you unlock its traits, it will start a firestorm at the start of every turn, and you can get a lot of red coming down. And then this will even create more red gems, as you see here, 6. And that's not determined by your magic. So if you are a lower level player, you don't have a whole lot of magic yet, this is still going to create those 6 red gems for you. And then it'll turn all those red gems into skulls. And if you pair this troop with something like Web Spinner that's fully traded, you can do some serious damage with the skulls in combination with that Web Spinner troop. So then moving on to Mythic troops here, and we have a few duds. War and Plague are pretty much duds in my opinion. These are 2 Mythic troops that I still do not own, but they're just really not that useful. And I've never really heard too many high-level players like just recommend them. You know, they're not that great. 20 mana cost for War here. Burns all enemies. Deals 24 damage to an enemy boosted by its attack. By your own attack. This troop's attack, rather. Gain an extra turn if the enemy dies. So, it's a 1-to-1 ratio here, which is decent. It's like the best you could get for a ratio. But, the thing is, your attack, you need a way to increase your attack. There's a couple of troops that can do that, but it's going to be a little bit of a slow process to get that damage up there. And the most you can get your attack up to is 1,000. So basically, you would do 1,000 attack with this every time you cast it, if you could get that attack to 1,000. That's going to be the hard part to do with this troop. Now, it does gain 3 attack at the start of each turn, so it's basically is going to increase its damage every single turn. Has a 50% chance to ignore armor with skull damage. So, it's I might actually craft that one this time, because as you can see here, I have this little number indicates how many I can craft of these troops. So I have more than enough diamonds to craft War. Plague. Plague will eliminate skill points from a random skill from all enemies, and then it poisons them and places disease on them. Now, for traits, it's immune to all status effects. It deals double skull damage to diseased enemies. Enemies lose 3 skill points on 4 or 5 gem matches. So again, this is a troop that would probably benefit a lot from a storm and another troop that's like exploding the board. But I'm pretty sure that this ability here, it will eliminate those points. Now, it has a 1 in 4 chance of eliminating like any of the stats. So skill points are basically your attack damage here, your armor, your life, and then also your magic. Your magic points right here. So it has like when it eliminates 23 points of a random skill, the random skill is one of those 4. So it's going to remove or eliminate how many ever points here. It might be more or less for you depending on your magic. For me, it's 23. So, but I just, it's one of those troops that I haven't crafted all the way up until this point in the game, just because, it just doesn't seem like it's going to really be a good troop to build a strong team around. But I might craft it eventually so I can, play around with it. I'll probably craft War before it, though. I think War is is better than Plague, because War can actually do 1,000 damage if you get the attack that high. So, in my opinion, War is better than Plague. Then moving down here, we have High King Irongut, which is definitely one of the most important mythic troops in the game. So, if you do not have High King Irongut, you might want to craft it this week. And then we also have the Great King, which is also a really good troop. So, real quick, the High King Irongut devours an enemy. This thing right here is a goblin troop. It'll deal a little bit of spell damage, but the real kicker is it will devour an enemy, and it has a chance equal to its own attack. Then it gains an extra turn. So, once you get its attack to 100, it has a 100% chance to devour the enemy, which is amazing. Now, there are certain troops that are immune to devour, and you can counter that by cursing them. So, since this takes brown, You could use Mountain Crusher as a mana generator for this with the Titan class, so you can get Rock Solid as a barrier whenever you match brown gems on that class, and that weapon would work great with that. And then to increase its attack, you could use, there's a troop, I think it's called Sentry. Ethereal Sentry, I think it's called, and it will increase a troop's attack based on its current armor. So one cast of that, and you can get this close to 100 attack, and then you can devour. Now, to counter troops that have an immunity to a devour, you're going to want to curse them, and there's a couple of troops that can do that for you. But yeah, High King Iron-Gut's really good for PvP. It's good for high explore battles, high delves. It's good for like events, all sorts of stuff. So that's going to be probably my #1 mythic here to craft, even though the Great King is also really good. But let's say you already have High King Irongut and you don't have the Great King. I would say Great King is definitely a great craft if you already have the High King Irongut. It's a mana generator in the sense that it destroys all gems of a chosen color, so you get to choose which gem color you want to have. And then all enemies of that color take 35 true damage and are mana drained, silenced, and frozen. And then as final trait, all undead allies gain 2 armor and magic when matching 4 or more gems, which means this true damage here is going to be increased by 2 every single time you get a 4 or more gem match. It's like it has, this troop is really amazing for 22 mana cost. The only downside to this troop is that it's kind of specific here, and it's only going to do the true damage to the enemies of the color that you choose to destroy. So there might only be, one troop that you can hit on a team. Now, the best case scenario is that you can hit like all 4 of them if they all share the same color. So I use this troop a lot for Guild Wars because it is really good, because the enemy team usually tries to have a whole color for their team. So I like to use Great King on Guild War days for that. But yeah, those are your 2 best mythic troops there for this week. So how I would rank these is High King Irongut obviously is my #1 troop here to craft this week. Great King is 2nd. And then War is going to be 3rd, and Plague would be 4th. So that's the order in which I would craft these troops this week. So let's go over here and let's go to the shop real quick. I'm going to grab my Spoils of War, and then we're going to check out the new troop this week here. Called Forge Mistress. And let's see what it does. It's an elf. It has 11 mana cost, red and brown. Its ability is called Elemental Craft. It will deal 32 damage to an enemy, and if the enemy is an elemental, enchant all other allies. So that's a cool ability to enchant all allies. An enchanted troop basically gains 2 mana at the start of your turn, every single turn, until it reaches full mana. So it's really a great way to empower, get all your troops all powered up. But the thing here I don't like about this ability is that it relies on an enemy team having an elemental in order for the enchant to work. So, there's nothing really amazing here in its traits. So, I'm just going to get it for the sake of being able to level up my kingdoms. Getting a little extra bonuses for that. And so that's pretty much it for that troop. Let's go over and take a look here at the event going on this week. It's called Crowning Glory. And let's see what's going on here. I'm going to go through the shop here and get my medal. And I'm really hoping that they're not giving us a medal that's like just skull damage and there's no troops we can use for skulls. That really does get on my goat, as they say. Alright, we got Medal of Balance. That's the event medal here. Let's go check out what is the bonus. So it's 160% spell damage for all troops in the current event. And that's going to be... I like it better than skull damage for these events, just because there's usually more troops that use spell damage instead of skulls. So troop restrictions is the Kingdom Silver Glade, and let's see what's here. I don't recall too many like amazing troops in this kingdom, so we're gonna see what we have. And Queen Aurora is a great support troop. Might want to use that. But Will of Nisha is good. All purple allies gain 1 to all stats at the start of each turn. It steals magic from 3 magic from all enemies, deals damage to them. So that's going to be a good one. We got Kirsten Axe, which is one of the few troops that can enchant itself when matching a particular color, in this case purple. Deals damage to all enemies. It also has a summon. And it also is one of the few troops in the game that is immune to entangle. And it also has the 50% damage reduction to skulls. So Kirsten Axe is really good in many ways. Having it up here at the front ensures that it's not going to be entangled. You're always going to be able to do skull damage with it. Unless, of course, it gets cursed. Then it could be entangled. But in most cases, it will not become entangled, and it does. It's a good little tank because it will reduce damage from skulls by 50%. So that's a good one there to put at the top. Now, if you have been in the underworld, with this troop here, Vanya Soulmourn is actually a pretty decent troop as well. Deals damage to all enemies boosted by blessed allies. It summons a Silver Necropolis troop, and that is the underworld little faction that you can get this from, is the Silver Necropolis. 15 mana cost, so not too bad. It blesses a random ally on a 4/5 gem match, which is actually really good. So we could put that in there. The only thing is we got Will and Isha in there, and it's going to block that mana. So, as far as legendaries, I believe this was a legendary. So, you got Kirsten Axe, you got Vanya, Soulmourn, and Willow is also a legendary troop. Destroys a row, deals damage to all enemies, boosted by brown gems destroyed. So, I might actually throw that in there. But, again, we got to be careful because we're going to be blocking mana. I mean, we do have a potion of enchantment from the shop that we just bought some things from. So that won't matter for at least casting the first time around. But let's see what other troops are in here. And we still have to look at a weapon. So maybe I should go take a look at the weapons real quick. Wisp is actually pretty cool. Dispels all enemies, charm a random enemy, jumble and gain an extra turn. I might actually throw that in here. Elven Bard. And create 10 gems. So there's a couple of mana generators in here, but nothing too amazing. As far as like damage goes, you're probably best off with Kirsten Axe, Vanya Soulmourn, Willow, or Willanisha. But I want to see what weapons we have available. We have the Reflection of Good weapon, which is very nice. Life and Death is in here. That's a Silver Glade weapon. So if you want to... I'm not sure, though, if Lifesteal is considered a spell damage. That would be... I should throw this in here. And I think I'll do this. And, yeah. So let's go over to troops. Willow is just going to kind of be down there, and it could be a one cast kind of thing. So, what are we going to do here for banner? I think I'm going to go double purple brown maybe. Yeah, we'll do that. Class. We could go the old Arch Magus here, just because we got a few good things. Lightning Strike is awesome, and the traits are going to give us 2 bonus to purple, and we already have a 2 bonus to purple with the banner, so it'd be 4 bonus to purple. I'm just curious to see if the Lifesteal on this weapon is considered spell damage, and it's going to be a little hard to see that here at the beginning, but... And... Wow, that was that was quick. Yeah, and they did. This is probably old news for a lot of you, but they did nerf the life and death weapon a little bit. It used to be much lower mana cost. Now it's 18. But you can still get it to start with half mana. And when you cast it like this, it does enchant itself. So that's pretty amazing. But yeah, life and death weapon, like if you have it, I would definitely consider using it for this event. It's probably, honestly, like the best weapon you could use for this event just because it has that life steal, which every time you cast it, it's just going to gain more and more health. And we finally have Kirstenax up here. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a few of these battles and see how far we can get up here to try to test this team out a little bit more. I won't know if the lifesteal on this weapon is considered spell damage until I get a little bit higher. Once the enemy life is above 40, then I should be able to see. But yeah, that's kind of a nice combination there, the Will of Nisha with the life and death weapon, because every single turn that I take, all purple allies gain 1 to all stats. So every single... Oh, yeah, okay. It was 56 life on this guy that was right down here. And he just died from my life and death weapon. So that means lifesteal is considered spell damage. That is nice to know. Yep, there was 70 life on that one guy. That lifesteal just took him right out. So now 49. Yep, took both of those guys out. Awesome. So let's go in here real quick and take a look at the weapons again. I wanted to see what else was in here. So Reflection of Good is a really great mana generator, but I don't think we need to use something like that because there's enough troops. And of course you can get the Potion of Explosion and Enchantment from the shop. But yeah, this is probably the best weapon here that you can use this week. It's Life and Death. And then, yeah, Kirstenax is a great troop to use. Will of Nisha is if you have it. Willow if you have it. And like I said, the other good troop that you could use is that Vanya Soulmorn right here. This is also a really good one to use. So you got, yeah, we got a few good troops this week. And yeah, so, but Life and Death weapon, definitely if you have it, use it for this event. It's really good. And that lifesteal is considered spell damage. So that's nice. Alright, that's about all I have for you in this video, guys. Thanks for watching as always. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.